The funeral for the assassinated president of Haiti was disrupted by the sound of gunfire.
Están disparando. Oh, vamos!
As you can see, journalists traveling in a car nearby captured the sound of those shots. The state funeral was intended to foster national unity in Haiti, where there are still too few answers about who planned the assassination and why. Several foreign delegations took cover in vehicles or left early. Bob Rae is Canada's ambassador to the UN. He was at the funeral earlier today, and he now joins us from the airport in Fort Lauderdale. Ambassador Rae, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kathleen. Good to see you.
So tell us about the funeral. What happened, what you observed, sort of what your takeaway was about, I guess, what it meant to have that funeral and have so many people there.
Well, I mean, first of all, I did have an opportunity in the last couple of days to meet with a number of leaders in the country. The new Prime Minister, Mr. Henri, and the Foreign Minister, Claude Joseph, who had previously been the Prime Minister. Had some good discussions with the UN, who are doing a lot of good work there. And it was a very productive trip from that point of view. The Prime Minister and the Minister asked me to go down for the events surrounding the funeral, and I joined our ambassador there, Stuart Savage, and it's a very tough situation. The assassination of the president comes, they're suffering terribly from COVID, 40% unemployment, 50% poverty. I mean, it's the poorest country in the Americas, and there's a great deal of violence going on. And of course, the assassination of the president would be, in any country, would be an event that would be truly traumatic. And so the service this morning was very moving. It was very emotional. The president's widow was there. There was a lot of people participating, actively shouting, and as one would expect in a circumstance like that, it was highly charged event. And then we had the gunshots and the tear gas, and at that point, we were advised by our security team to move on. But we only did so after having an opportunity to express our strong condolences to the government, and I had an opportunity to listen to the rest of the speech when we arrived at a safe point. So I mean, I know it may sound somehow casual to say, but I mean, this is a situation where violence is unfortunately and tragically very much part of the risk of life in Haiti at the moment. So I don't think any of us were shocked by what happened, and we were obviously prepared for whatever would happen.
Actually, that was going to be my next question, because I was just sort of wondering the extent to which you would have been surprised by it, or whether that was indeed something that had been anticipated as a very real possibility, and clearly for good reason.
There's a lot of uncertainty around what the event would be like, the kinds of passions that have been built up. The funeral took place in the north of Haiti, which is where the president was born, where he grew up, which was his political base. And obviously, there's a lot of anger and fury, a lot of questions and issues that people have about what happened and how it happened. Not always possible to get those answers quickly. And there will, in those circumstances, be all kinds of fingers pointed in various directions. So I don't think any of us thought that this was going to be, a peaceful event. It was held outside in order to deal and cope with the number of people in the crowds. And it was a very emotional ceremony. I personally was very glad I was there. I was very glad to make the trip to Haiti. It's important for us to continue to express solidarity with a country that is our neighbor. There are, 150,000 people of Haitian origin living in Canada. We have a very strong diaspora. We have a lot of concerns about making sure that Haiti is able to get on track. And I have to say, I think that we need to understand that conflict is a consequence of COVID, of underdevelopment, and of deep poverty. And we're seeing that conflict today. We're trying to get things on a better path. We're going to have to work with a lot of other partners to help make that happen. But the leadership has to come from within Haiti. And I think we've seen some greater solidarity in the Haitian leadership. We're just hoping that that can continue.
Okay, let's pick up on that theme. First of all, I just want to mention that the former Governor General Michael Jean was on this program a couple of weeks ago saying that Haiti clearly needed international support in the aftermath of the assassination. And she went on to say because Haiti's national police has been infiltrated by criminal organizations. So from your perspective, what confidence do you have in the current leadership in Haiti to be able to, I don't know, move on from this, I guess, and try and establish some order?
There's a lot of basic institution building that's required. I mean, the former Governor General is quite right. We have been working with the police. Canada has been involved in the training of the police for 12 years. And in fact, I was talking with the American ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield, about the need for us to work together on some critical issues like security. But it's not just security. It's also economic development, social development. These things all have to go hand in hand. And yes, international assistance is required, and more is going to be required. More will have to be done. But there also has to be a commitment from the leadership of the country to deal with corruption, to deal with the lack of transparency, which has been very much an element of Haitian underdevelopment, and to make sure that we're getting things going in more of a positive path. And that's something I think everybody wants to work on. It's not going to be easy. But I think the fact that we now have a new government, that there's been a peaceful transfer to a new prime minister, together with a cabinet that includes many people who were previously in other parties, is a start. We need to broaden from that. And I had a good discussion with Mr. Rae about that last night. But I think there's a strong willingness on his part to do more. And I think we're going to try to keep things on a constructive path.
We just have a minute or so left.
A lot of good things need to happen.
Before I let you go, we just have a minute or so left. Well, when do you think elections will be?
I think reasonably soon. That's the president's first priority. But, you can't have elections unless you have stability. Unless you have conditions for stability, it's difficult to say, let's have an election. An election isn't going to solve a problem unless there's a general consensus about the importance of moving together and what the election will mean. But I think there's a lot of pressure for an election from the people of Haiti. And for a better system of governance. And that's something clearly that's absolutely necessary. But Canada's going to stay very much involved. I'm doing some work at the UN with other partners on economic and social issues, including the issues of security. So we're going to continue to stay active and work in cooperation with our mission and our embassy in Haiti and elsewhere. Thank you so much for getting a hold of me in this.
Really good of you to take the time. I'm going to have to say goodbye. We are out of time, but Ambassador Rae, good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Vashi Capellos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.